So it's happened for the first time in history. A serving Prime Minister has been served with a criminal sanction. Yes, it is actually criminal because it broke the law, ironically, that he set. So how should we react to this? Well, a lot of people are saying, look, it was only a birthday cake. It wasn't really a full party. It wasn't his fault. However, what the Met Police have done is to fine him for that event. There are lots more to come. Lots of other events that clearly were actually genuinely booze-ups, all of which makes it quite ironic that Rishi Sunak, who was a teetotaler, has also been fined. So I think there's a lot more to come. There's the Sue Gray report to come, and this Partygate round 2 is going to run and run even if it bores the pants off you. The real argument, though, that's going around, and some of his big supporting newspapers today say, you can't get rid of the Prime Minister because there's a war on and he's playing a leading role. Well, yes, he is playing a leading role. I have to say he's doing much better on the world stage than he's doing domestically. Of that, there can be little doubt. But let's just think back through history. During the First World War, midway through, Asquith went as Prime Minister, Lloyd George took over. In 1940, Neville Chamberlain went as Prime Minister and Winston Churchill took over. In 1945, Churchill was removed in a general election, replaced by Attlee, whilst we were still at war with Japan, a war that without the nuclear bombs that came later could have gone on for another 4 or 5 years. And then in 1990, in the Gulf War, Mrs. Thatcher was removed from office halfway through the war. The argument that because there's a war on, a Prime Minister cannot be removed does not work if you think about all of those historical precedents that have taken place within the last 100 years or so. What do I think about it? The very fact that we seem to be, or a lot of people seem to be happy for the Prime Minister to continue, despite not telling the truth, and by the way, a YouGov poll shows 75% of the population think he lied when he talked about the parties. The fact that a Prime Minister and a Chancellor have completely, willfully misled the House of Commons. These are things that in previous decades would have been considered totally unacceptable. I guess our standards in public life have fallen so sharply that there are many who are now simply prepared to accept it. But the problem here isn't just Boris Johnson. There's now a list as long as your arm of Tory MPs repeatedly getting into trouble. One this week, convicted of sexually assaulting a 15-year-old boy, and another member of parliament coming to his defense, saying this is wrong. We can't allow convictions like this. They are in a terrible mess. It reminds me of 1995-96. John Major was there. There was a chance to replace him. They didn't take it, and they headed towards electoral disaster in 1997. There's little doubt that Boris Johnson was the right man for 2019. Little doubt we needed him there to get Brexit over the line, and that will be his historical legacy as Prime Minister. But if the Conservatives continue on this course, rudderless, without any distinguishable domestic policy, mired in sleaze, then what you're going to see on May the 5th, starting with the local elections, when I think they will do disastrously. So big is that breach of trust. About a third of people who voted Tory in 2019 now think the PM should go. That's enough to lead them to catastrophic defeat in the next general election, which will come in 23 or 24. They're headed for disaster on the current course. And I would urge people to wake up and recognize the fact that we all have a time. We all have a time when it's right for us to do something. Boris Johnson's had that time, but that time has now gone. I know there's no obvious successor, but unless the Conservative Party shakes itself, unless the Conservative Party gets back to being a party of low tax, to being a party that supports the self-employed and small businesses, unless it is a party that genuinely wants to get us to energy independence, unless it does these things under fresh leadership, it will lose the next general election. Not all of you will like what I'm saying, but I believe it absolutely to be the truth.
Thank you for watching this video. Now, to make sure you don't miss any future videos, please click the subscribe icon and the notification bell. Until next time, when I give you another story that mainstream media dare not cover.